Hi, this is Cass from Aussie Cass Plays, and welcome to part 8, I believe, of my second generation of my medieval legacy challenge. We've actually come to join little Oliver in the Vitor household in the Kingdom of Forgotten Hollow. He's just received news via a letter that his father has passed away. His mum wrote to him after Zachary's death. It's been a little while, but he's only just gotten the letter because, you know, these things take time. So he's in the middle of composing a response to her. He's also found it, noting that I did make an exception to photography, that sepia-toned photos exist in medieval times, which was not the case. But he's found a photographer who could do a photo of little Desiree, and he's planning on sending it back to his mum because she can't actually meet her very, very first granddaughter. She has a second granddaughter now. She has Vivienne, but her firstborn granddaughter she can't meet. So that is Desiree. She is wandering around the house somewhere. I did put her to bed. She just didn't stay there. This is little Desiree. She looks a lot like both her parents. Her eye colour's changed about 3 times so far, but seems to have settled on this really pretty kind of lavendery kind of colour, which I think is very cute. Maybe she knew her dad was sad. Now, I have been tidying this place up. Caleb and Lilith have been living in this place for a long time, and the kind of ennui associated with being a vampire meant that they just didn't care about things like housekeeping. You know, they were trapped in their own rut of like, ooh, she's discovered a spell. They were trapped in their own rut of not making changes, not pursuing anything, just kind of living, existing rather than living, I guess. She's made the basement look a little bit nicer. Come down here and sell that. And tried to make everything a bit more homey. She's been cleaning up cobwebs as she finds them. She's been cleaning up, like, all of the vines are now gone. That's kind of where she's at with that. Honey, you gotta eat. No, you gotta eat. Come on, Desiree. Don't be a toddler now. Yeah, you know you're tired. I know you're tired too. Eat the food. I'm going to have her come in here and she's going to try and console him. She's come up here to talk to him and sort of say, you know, your father lived a full life and, you know, he would be really proud of his legacy. He's got wonderful kids. He's got wonderful grandkids. She's doing her best to cheer him up, but he's feeling dreadful. He's like, look, I should have been there. I should have been with my family when Dad was getting sick. Maybe if I'd been there to help around the farm, maybe he would have lived longer. And she's like, look, your life's taken a different path. It wasn't your fault, and there's nothing you can do about it, Oliver. And he's like, well, I want there to be something I can do about it. Look, I'm starting to realise, Jewel, that because I'm a vampire, like, look at Caleb and Lilith, because they're vampires. They're very insular. They stay just to themselves. They don't make friends outside the family because they know that humans that they make friends with are going to die. And I'm going to outlive my whole family. It's not just my dad. It's my mum. It's my sisters, my brother, my grandkids. I'm going to outlive you. I'm going to outlive Desiree. And Jules like, well, I mean, that could be true, but it's not guaranteed. I haven't really plumbed the depths of what spellcasting can do, but there might be a way that we can live longer. And he's like, but it's not natural to live this long. It's not. I don't know if that's the right outcome. Like, do we want to live forever, or do I want to just grow old and die with you? So poor Oliver's having a little bit of an existential crisis while his child falls asleep on the floor. There is a little bit of hope for him in the notion that he might be able to have his wife and his daughter with him forever, but he can see this situation down the track where even if Jewel and Desiree can find a way to live effectively, become immortal like Oliver, and yes, in the game there are powers that can do that for spellcasters. Even if that's the case, he's like, but I can't turn everyone I know into a vampire. So the whole rest of my family is going to die. And he's really struggling with that. And he's like, not knowing if this is the life he actually wants to lead. She's cold. Her mama's reading her to bed. She's such a little sweetie. She is a spellcaster like her mama. not a vampire like her dad. That is 100% confirmed. All right, so we're joining Rose and her little family back in the Kingdom of Windenburg. You'll see I've got little Vivienne in the baby onesie. It's actually the one that Olivia had that her kids had been put in. So Olivia came over and has put it on little baby Vivienne. Her birthday is actually not until Monday. The only thing is it's Saturday now. And Rose is feeling a bit anxious because she's supposed to be working today. It's part of the rules. She's meant to work today. And in medieval times, especially because breastfeeding was how babies were generally fed, she's worried about leaving the baby for a few hours to go and host a party because, you know, Thomas isn't equipped to do that. And obviously, poor little Isabella, who's over here feeling very, very sad about the passing of her father. She's feeling a bit introspective. She can help out looking after the baby, but Rose is worried, well, she can't breastfeed my baby either, you know? So she's going to come down and she's going to see if she's okay and then ask if she's sure, because Isabella said she can handle it, ask if she's sure that she can look after the baby for a few hours so that Rose can go to work. Isabella is going to reassure her, yes, she can absolutely handle it. You know, there are other things she can give because Vivienne's an older baby now. She'd be maybe 6 to 9 months old. So she is on some solids. So Isabella's like, look, as long as you're back to feed her at bedtime, it will be fine. We can keep her belly full. We can keep her happy and healthy. It will be okay. So Rose is going to have to organise her dinner party shortly. Just to catch you up on where Thomas is up to, he has been, he's out shoveling snow. What a good boy. He has been promoted to the next level of blacksmith. So he is now a tool maker, serial monogamist, perform marriages in 20 unique households. I have done that in this save file, yes. That's quite funny. I didn't even know that was an achievement. So he got promoted. For this level, when he got promoted, he already had the handiness and he actually had a half-finished sculpture on the woodworking table. I actually just had him finish it. So we've ticked off craft an object on the woodworking table. So he has his requirements. He's level 2 of his career. I think this is a 10 level career. And like I said, he does need to get maxed out for me to tick the spirit of the generation to get the bonus for the next generation. So I'm going to have Rose start her dinner party and I'll catch up with you guys when she gets there. All right, we are back in the Goth household. It's a little bit more of a subdued party environment than it used to be. And Rose isn't really sure why that is. I mean, last time she was here, there were Sims falling all over each other. And, you know, general shenanigans were ensuing, but this place is basically dead. Maybe it's because of the blizzard. I don't even know where the party guests have gone. They've all just vanished. It's quite strange. Oh, we've got a couple of them up here. Oh, I should tell you guys. Now, in theory, the child of the Cassandra Goth and her husband should probably still be a baby, but I had to age him up because I wanted to rename him because he had his dad's surname. So this is a slightly older than he should be little Victor Goth. Because the Goths are a noble family and the Stones are less upper crust, I guess, I figured that I've blanked on his first name. Mr. Stone here, George. I was thinking James, but that's his brother. Yeah, George was gonna take the surname of his wife rather than the other way around. So, apparently Jewel is sending condolences to Jared for the death of Zachary. I mean, that was kind of her. I mean, it is her dad, and Jared did know Zachary for a long time. So I'm going to put this out here on my... Who sat here and ruined my place settings already? So we'll call to meal. These guys will come out here to eat. No, Rose, you don't eat with the Sims. Come on, you are service. I do actually want her to have a talk to Morty, but we won't do that now. I'll have her come out here and form group with not Olivia. Why is Olivia here? Sylvester, Bentley, Edison, James. Oh, I can't choose James. Well, Jared and Olivia are not here, so they don't get any. Alrighty, let's make drinks for everyone. We'll go Von Horn Estate memoir, I think it was, while these guys are eating. She's starting to realise the reason everyone's a bit more subdued than normal, partly the death of Bella, obviously that's going to have an effect. Poor Morty is 100% not over it. And partly because there's a child in the house. Sylvester's saying, look, Victor's a bit of a terror, honestly. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, he's a spoiled little brat. This is, Sylvester, really? This guy's gross. And she's like, please, Sylvester, enough. So they've stopped talking about it because Cassandra just came in. But when I randomly generated Victor's trait to see what kind of toddler he was, he got fussy. Morty's pulling her aside. She's offering him gratitude for the work. She's pulling him aside. He's pulling her aside and saying, look, I think we need some help here. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you just had a baby, didn't you? You're good with babies? And she's like, well, I'm good with my baby. It's like, well, we just between you and me, Cassandra and George are spoiling their child rotten, and he's a monster. She's like, he's just a little baby. He can't be a monster. You know, he's a product of the way he's being raised. I mean, she'd be politer about it than that, but that's basically what she's saying. He's like, yeah, I appreciate that, which is why I think I want to hire someone to come in and help parent that child. What are you doing out there, Alexander? You have a boyfriend, sir. Oh, yes, Alexander and Bentley are actually a couple now. Bentley does not live here, but the two of them are having a very low-key relationship. Oh, Isabella goes to work soon. That's unfortunate, because we are not home yet, and she's looking after our baby. I mean, Thomas can manage. It's just the kind of gender stereotypes of the time. So she is going to, let's see if I can talk up other Sims. We will talk up Isabella. So yeah, she's saying, look, I don't want to uproot my family or anything. Thank you so much for thinking that I would be good at that. But my sister does work in looking after children. Like, she actually is working, you'd like to get to know her. You know, she's working for another family at the moment looking after their child, and I'm sure that she would be interested if you want to live in Nanny. That's definitely a thing she would be interested in. Now, this is breaking Rose's heart a bit because she kind of doesn't want Isabella to move out. She's had her twin with her literally her entire life from birth, and Isabella has gone everywhere with her, but she also knows Isabella's not super comfortable living with Thomas, her and Vivian. So Morty's saying, look, I would love to meet her. I think that sounds like a great idea, and, you know, if whatever she can do to help would be appreciated. So Isabella's just gone to work, which is great. So Rose is saying, look, I will have a talk to my sister and we'll see what we can do. Anyway, poor little Victor has made a huge mess in here. Does he need anything? How about I just look after him real quick before I have her go home? He's got quite a cute little bedroom, if I do say so myself. So it's got his little princess kind of bed. It's got everything a boy can need. He has a private bathroom. He's got things he can't even use yet, like the child's art table. Because Sims aren't very good at looking after toddlers and babies on autopilot when you're on the lot, you kind of have to take a hand. Okay, well, she didn't do anything, so I assume he's fine, and we're going to head home. All right, so she's come home, and first thing she's going to do is check little Vivian. I have adjusted the household funds. As soon as she walked in the door, he started feeling flirty. So I feel like he's just eating at the moment, but I feel like he'll probably, you know, attempt to spend some quality time with his wife, if you know what I'm saying. The poor puppy's like, I want to go for a walk. Unfortunately, it was not blizzarding in the Goth estate quite so badly, but when we got home, it was like insane amounts of blizzard. Oh, at that exact moment, Vivian started crying. What are you guys? No, stop. You're not hooking up outside when you've got a crying baby. Come over here. Like, give her a feed. She's probably hungry. We'll change her. Actually, we won't change her yet. It's inevitable. And then they can bounce her. No, you can, but no, stop. You can woo her after the baby has been dealt with. This is one of the reasons why, from a practical point of view, I kind of need to move Vivian into Isabella's room. This house is not that big, and I can't add any extra rooms. I can extend them. If they got the money together, I could like extend everything out a block and just make things slightly roomier, but I can't actually make an extra room or anything. Even the blacksmith forge that I've done, the only reason I can get away with having that, because it's technically, you could call that an extra room, is just because it's open-sided. So I was like, it's not really a room. So she's giving her baby a feed and a cuddle, and then Thomas is going to say, oh, and then there's that nappy. Okay, that was always going to happen. Change that diaper. Now I'm going to say woohoo. I do have a risky woohoo percent set. So they could get pregnant, they may not, but I'm just going to say woohoo. We'll see how we go. I mean, she's still breastfeeding, so she shouldn't, in theory, be quite as easily able to get pregnant as normal. Well, see, I think Roan just wants some attention, but I'm sorry, Roan. Anyway, when Isabella gets home, maybe in the morning, Rose is going to have a talk to her about the whole situation with Victor. So it's Sunday. It's also New Skill Day, which is very exciting for me. But Rose is sitting down with her sister to explain the whole situation with the Goth family and how it could be the exact opportunity that Isabella has been looking for, because Morty's not comfortable with the way George is influencing little Victor, and he wants to kind of have a softening influence. He thinks he will be able to do it while he's alive, but going forward, he doesn't want the Goth family to become, you know, warmongers or any of that kind of stuff. So Isabella's wondering, you know, is he maybe regretting agreeing to that particular wedding match? And Rose is saying, look, I don't know. I mean, it's not that he doesn't love little Victor. He just wants to make sure that he has a good influence on him. And I think he didn't say it, but I think he's a little bit worried that his daughter isn't kind of all there. So Isabella's saying she hasn't met Mortimer. I can't find the other Sims option. There's ask about another Sim, but for some reason I'm not seeing the other Sims option for her with her sister. So, because I was going to talk up Morty as well. Okay, well, little Vivienne has chosen this moment to have a stinky bottom. So, actually, I'm going to get Thomas to come up and change it. He can stop what he's doing, because he's doing things I didn't tell him to do. He can come up here, and then once that's done, I'm actually going to have Isabella go across to the Goth's house for what is effectively a job interview. So I just brought Rose and Isabella to the Goth house, and Rose just got a message from Sir Edison. I'm attracted to you, Rose, and I really want to change our relationship. I know this is risky to say, and there's a high chance you don't feel the same way, but I still want to know. Now, this won't have been a text message. I expect he sent her a letter or something. She has seen Edison around. This is obviously her brother's wife's father. Plus, she's married. If this were Isabella, it could be a different story, but it's not. So she's going to say she doesn't feel that way. So they're coming in. I don't know if these guys are in a group. They are. So what do we want to do in this monstrosity of a house, which is too big, and I can never find anybody? I'm looking for Mortimer. Is he home? Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll get Isabella to come up and actually introduce herself to little Victor, I guess. So we'll do a funny introduction, and then she can clean that. Now, they don't work here. They're not being paid right now. But I think, you know, it's a good way to make a good impression. Where are the other members of this family? Have they genuinely all just chuffed off and left the toddler in the house on his own? Because I have to say, that's a pretty good sign that they need help. All right, I tracked him down. So he's still feeling terribly sad. I don't know why we're having this conversation in George and Cassandra's room, but she's going to say that she's come over with her sister so that they can meet her. She can come in here and do a exchange names introduction. He has not had the pleasure of meeting her. I already talked her up to you. Go to the bathroom. All right, so she's in here. She's had quite a good chat with Victor. She's going to do a friendly introduction to Alexander. And then we're supposed to be saying hi to Morty. So she said hi to Alexander, and he's like, hey, not really thinking much of it. Morty's come in to find she's already in here socialising with his grandson. And she's like, oh, little Victor's such a charming little boy. And Morty's kind of like, really? She starts working an hour. Morty's impressed that she kind of went straight to Victor and started looking after him. You know, he's noticed that she's cleaned up the messes and stuff that he'd left all over the floor. And she's like explaining to Victor, you know, oh, we don't do that, do we, Victor? And Victor's like, no. So she's like, would you like to learn about shapes, Victor? And George is watching thinking, you know, whatever. We obviously need some help. He's feeling very sad at the moment. I don't know why. And Victor is keen to learn shapes. So what I'm thinking we're going to do, Mortimer is happy to hire Isabella on like a trial. So at the end of this part, I will move her in. She does have work very soon, like 4 minutes. So she'll go to work and then that'll be like when she'll kind of hand in her notice and then come to work here. So I'll cancel that and you should go home. Don't be sleeping in the servants' quarters. Ain't no need for it. So I'm going to have her go home and just work on her skills for the rest of New Skill Day. It's actually little Vivienne's birthday tomorrow. So I'm thinking we might age her up in this part as well, just at the end, and give her a little makeover. I'm very excited to see. I'm kind of hoping she gets her daddy's hair because we've had a lot of brown-haired kids because Olivia and Zachary had the same hair colour. So every one of their children, plus Jewel, had the same hair colour, which means Desiree has the same hair colour. Rose is pretty happy that she's helped Isabella out in securing work. She thinks Morty is a good person. She thinks Alexander's a good person. She thinks Cassandra's a bit flaky. That's something about people named Cassandra, I guess. But Cassandra doesn't seem to be malicious. And even George, he's not as toxic as maybe Mortimer fears he is because he's willing to display that he's feeling sad right now. I love that she's sprinting home. They do actually live in the same neighbourhood, so it's a bit of a run, but, you know, that's okay. It's okay. She's keeping warm. You guys, Roan is an elderly dog. I don't feel like we've even had him that long. Poor old man dog. I was contemplating what to do with Roan because I think he's actually closer to Isabella than he is to Rose because Rose obviously has been out of the house a lot more. Isabella kind of works twice a week effectively because that's babysitter's hours in the Sims career. So yeah, poor Roan. It seems unseemly for her to bring a dog along, which is sad, but you know, maybe it's good. I mean, it's not that he doesn't like Rose. I just think Isabella's like taking him for more walks and stuff. Like if I look at their relationships, I mean, they are basically best friends. He is closer to Isabella, but not by a lot. So I guess maybe that's okay. Well, I guess the baby's decided it's time to get up. So I'll get her to come up and get her leftovers. Now, Thomas does have work today. And I'm keen to try and get him promoted. So he starts in 42 minutes. He can go have a oh, dang it. The baby's crying. No, stop. Come up here. What's wrong with her? She need a nappy changed? He needs to try and sleep. He can't sleep with a crying baby, although apparently he can. She's like, shh, let your daddy sleep a little bit longer. Because he's got 10 more minutes. I don't think he'll get promoted. It's unusual to get through the full kind of from like middle of the road to maxed out in a day. I am going to age Vivienne up, but I probably should wait until he gets home. So he works until 5 p.m. So I guess I'll just wait for him to get home and then we will age her up. Poor Thomas. He got paid 90 simoleons for his hard work. He almost made it and he's come home and is having an energy failure. He should get promoted, he will get promoted tomorrow. And I am thinking that I might play, because I have to move Isabella out. And it's also been a little while since Zachary died and Andrea was staying with her mum to sort of respect, to help her mum out while she was mourning and not look like she was disrespecting her father's memory by immediately doing the thing he didn't want her to do. But it's been a little while now, so I was also thinking off screen between parts, I'm going to move Andrea out. She's an adult now and I have aged her up and she's filled out quite nicely, I have to say. She was quite an odd looking teen. A bit gangly, but yeah, she's doing all right. So Isabella's kind of very excited. She's talking about all her plans for when she moves out. It's going to be so exciting to live in like a mansion. Can you believe it? So these guys are just having a quick catch up. And as soon as Thomas has enough energy that he's not going to like black out while we're aging up his daughter, then we'll age up his daughter. Oh, I did take the onesie off already because I want to reuse that onesie if they have another kid. Right, you guys, I've decided it's time. So just because he finished his nap, he's still very, very tired and also kind of cold. We don't have much in the way of heating in this house, so I'll just put him into some cold weather gear so he doesn't get frostbite, which looks pretty much identical to what he was wearing. That's okay. So we'll age up little Vivienne. I'll give her a makeover and then we will end this part. I'm so excited, you guys. I hope she's blonde. I hope she's blonde. Please be blonde. Is she blonde? The screen's not loading. No, it looks like she's got brown hair. That's all right. I mean, it's not that I don't like brown hair. Just would have been nice, you know? Yeah, she's got brown, currently curly hair like her uncle Oliver. Oh, look at her little face. She has got her daddy's eyes. So this is her before any CC or like anything. I think that hair is actually CC. But before I do anything to her, she's quite pretty. She doesn't have the kind of super narrow face that some of her aunts have. Although, that being said, like I said, Andrea has aged up to be completely breathtaking and she had the narrowest, pointiest face of all of them. So, all good. All right, well, I am going to give her a quick makeover and I'll be back with you guys in a sec. So I ended up giving her the same hair because I didn't really have any, like I wanted something shorter, but the curly hairs that I had for toddlers, this was the only one that was vaguely feminine, and I thought that they would want her to have a more traditional hairstyle, like feminine hairstyle. So she's got this hair, which is a beautiful hair, don't get me wrong. It's possibly slightly longer than I would have liked is all. So she's basically in this dress for everything. I figured because it's winter, her everyday wear would be long sleeve and that kind of thing. So, you know, the only difference between this and her winter wear is gloves and hat. So that's it. She's a very cute little kid. I'll be interested to see how she ages up. She's got quite prominent cheeks here. Like they're just, it looks like she's holding marbles in her mouth. So I don't know what that means in terms of how she's going to age up. I do think she is a precious little being. I love her green eyes. It's nice, even though she's got her mum's hair colouring. She definitely has inherited something from her dad, as opposed to being a carbon copy of her mum and her grandparents. So that is nice to see Thomas's influence there. And I think she's gorgeous. So I'm actually going to leave this part here. Like I said, in the next part, we all have moved Isabella in with the Goths to look after little Victor and any future offspring of Cassandra and George. We will have also probably moved Andrea out. I'm thinking she's going to get her ship's guard either merchant caravan guard or probably not that, probably more like a crew on a ship, because I think them giving her a sword is a bridge too far. I mean, she's had no military training, so she just wants to get out and see the world. Her third trait when I aged her up, I gave her adventurous. So that definitely to me seems in line with the way Andrea has been developing this whole time. So we'll move her out. And then I guess we'll see how things go with Colton, whether when she's not right next door, he realizes what he's missing, or whether that will be the distance they need for that relationship to just move on and become, you know, a childhood memory. We'll see how we go. Anyway, if you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe. You know the drill. Don't forget to wash your hands, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.